Others are fighting in double rows in the ice and snow. They're all white spotted dogs that eat tight meat, fish, and bark porridge. This pair of geniuses is awesome. 10 yuans and 1.5 kilogram of hesin, hooked one by one. Plug it in the branches and roast it until it is burnt on the outside and tender on the inside. Sitting in a shelter from the wind and rain. Don't mention how delicious the food is. The excess can also be smoked into dried fish. Eating rose hips rich in vitamin C. Chewing Bay, Maizu City. It makes sense to get there first. Not to mention how nourishing the little days are. Current period. Joe and Matt travel to the Rocky Mountains in Wyoming. This section of the mountain has an average altitude of 4 kilometers. The annual snowfall is up to 6 meters deep. I don't know how many unlucky snow motorcyclists are trapped in China. So this time, Joe and Matt are going to challenge this dilemma. The survival package at the beginning. It's the instrument's snowmobile. The reason why it can't be started is also very simple. The fuel tank has bottomed out. They do business. Going to take apart the usable parts. Matt found a tarp box manual, and Joe is fiddling with this screwdriver. Use the parts of the car that can be used for survival. All packed. Where they are now is the ridgeline. Open career can make a little fire and send out a distress signal. The task of making the fire this time is handed over to Joe. Matt went to the side hillside and dug a snow cave with leaves. In this environment, remember not to overheat your body and cause sweating, because then once the movement stops, sweat freezes into ice, causing hypothermia. At the same time, the bridge dug a big hole in the ground. Lay pine branches. Hurry up. The metal plate is at the bottom. Prevent flames from falling into the snow. Use manual paper as a stove. Put on the few drops of gasoline left over from fuel management. Connect the positive and negative electrodes of the battery with wires. The two wires collided to create a spark. Tried 3721. Spark. Finally, ignite gasoline to ignite paper bridge. Quickly put on the ready dead branches and burn the fire. Then put the plastic removed from the car on it. Produced black smoke, just right to contrast with the snow. To increase the chances of being discovered, he took the headlights off the snowmobile again. Also used two wires to connect the headlight and battery. Regular contact with the negative electrode of the battery through wires, sending moose codes to the outside world. And Matt's snow cave is done. The bridge is lying in it, and the headlights are flicked every now and then. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and the next morning, nobody found them. There are too few survival resources on the ridge. Now, they had to go down and camp in the woods. Matt removes the sleds on either side of the snowmobile. Tie them to their feet with shoelaces. Diversify your weight. All the parts that Qiao Zhang can use are packed and taken away. Then they set off towards the woods below the mountain. When Matt was driving ahead to flood the snow, the bridge route is behind. I thought it would be better to go, but the snow here is so thick. He still takes 3 steps, 1 line, 5 steps, and 1 kneel. I don't know how many calories. An open space appeared in the woods ahead. Lao Tai, who often gets lost in the coastal snowfield, knows it. This open space underneath is made of frozen lakes. Pressing a shelter by the lake is the best option. Just before building the house, they also have to leave a distress signal in the snow first. Matt stamped out a large letter on the ground. Take a look and cut down pine branches in the woods. Spread them in the recesses of the letters. Is that so? Just leave a clear cry for help in the snow. The signal still needs to be divided and cooperated. Matt found a fallen tree on the shore. Naturally formed sloping frame. Just right for the shelter. Remove the childishness from the trunk. Matt is on the ground first. Dig a hole. After 10 minutes, the whole person is almost invisible. And then we put a tree trunk around the hole. Lay pine branches. Shelter is done. The bridge is still the old way of living. Yesterday, sparks generated by short circuits and wires. Ignite paper balls dipped in gasoline, and he went out hunting. I originally wanted to set a few traps, catch some rabbits, squirrels, or something. Can be searched for a long time. I didn't see any animal footprints, although meat was not found. But let him find a rose tree. It's full of fruit. Rose hips are rich in vitamin C. They'll be Joe and Matt for dinner tonight. Come to day 3 of survival. Hungry front, chest to back. Matt plans to go fishing on the lake. A spring removed from a motorcycle can be polished into a fish hook. Bridge volunteered to find the bait. He found a squirrel with bug eyes. Dig up the surface, bark, pull out the pine beetle larvae hiding inside. It's perfect for being a toddler. Matt polishes the hook at camp, and I use the cable of the motorcycle as a sling. One end is attached to a branch. Tie on the other end. Marbridge and Matt cut 2 ice holes in the lake. Start sitting on it and fishing. As the saying goes, everything is difficult at the beginning. Just as the patient span of the bridge ran out, the fishing line is finally moving. Pull it up and take a look. Good guy. No more, no less. It happens to be a 2.5 bottle, fish. Then there was movement from Matt's side. He also caught 2 Tarrant fish in a row. Return to the shelter. Grill the fish charcoal until it is tender on the outside and tender on the inside. They finally got a challenge. The first protein meal since tender and firm fish, constantly bombarding their taste buds. In the process of eating meat, the human body is like a plant that is about to die of thirst. Rejuvenate as quickly as water. After eating a big meal, I slept beautifully until the next morning. 2 people original. I was going to go fishing after strengthening the shelter. I didn't expect the sky at this time. The sound of a helicopter's propeller, and they raced to the surface of the lake for rescue. Unfortunately, the visibility is too low due to the heavy snow. The pilots never saw their distress signal. Bridge and Matabe have a good time. This also makes the bridge a bit mentally explosive. He didn't want to sit there and wait to die. Plan. Search for man machine in the direction where the helicopter disappeared. End at a ridgeline a few kilometers away. If you can't find a human machine there, just come back and wait for rescue. On the contrary, it will pass through the lens and waterproof. The flag of the ministry signaled to Matt. Matt saw that he had no intention of forcibly stopping him. I have to be a smooth water favor. Made double blood evil for Joe with the tracks of a snowmobile. It's easier to let him go. When Joe set out to find people, Matt stayed in the shelter to continue fishing and storing food. He is also getting better and better at fishing. Cut all the fish you get into slices, hanging from a branch above the fire, dehydrated by fumigation to make dry food. In a blink of an eye, Joe and Matt made an appointment to signal at dusk. The bridge has been trudged through. Come to the ridgeline a few kilometers away. Unexpectedly, he really saw. There are man-made structures in the woods ahead. He found a 4-meter-long tree trunk, tie the red tarp on it, and stick it in the snow. At the same time, in the direction of Matt. Flash with lenses. Matt soon saw. So the next morning, he packed the survival supplies he needed. Towards the bridge non-stop. Rush over where you are. There are each other's footprints along the way, and the sign left on the tree to guide the way. They managed to get together at noon. The bridge revealed to Matt the man-made structure he had discovered. The two simply ate Matt's smoked fishing rod. Fill your stomach. Then he walked towards the building. They encountered a river blocking their way. 3. The river meanders. I can't see where the 2 ends are. I don't know how long it will take to let go of the past. So they decided to wade directly across the river. Take off your shoes and socks first. Roll up your pants and quickly wade through the icy river. Dry the water off your feet with snow. Put on your shoes and socks and continue on your way. Walking forward, I came across an abandoned fireplace. It just so happens that it's getting late. This fireplace is just the right place to use as a shelter. Matt found a living elder from the neighborhood. Cut out the drill shaft and base with your nose hand. Carry when the male string. Take the zero removed from the snowmobile. Put pressure on the drill shaft. He did what he was best at. Clean, rubbing out big lumps of fuel debris. Burn crumbs into a fire dragon made by crushing the bark. Blow on a mouth that hasn't brushed its teeth in for days. The flame was smoked out by him in seconds. The construction of the shelter is still the same as last time. Not to be outdone. Seeing Matt so awesome. Take the wires out and set traps. Because when I came, he saw many dams along the river. So back to the river. Picked a river dam with traces of activity. Lay a rope trap at the entrance. That night, they ate the remaining slices of dried fish. Offline food issues. It's all on that trap. Second flyover departure inspection trap. From a distance, he saw the noose being punished. But when I walked in, saw blood stains walking on the ground. My heart was suddenly cold. Not what he thought. Heli was found in the nearby American city. Jiazhu Dandeng. Only a tail is left to eat. This angry bridge has lost the mood to eat meat. Back at the shelter, grab Matt and go. I don't know how long the trek took. They found it on the ridge, the building I saw above. Unfortunately, the building was empty. Now, we can only follow the original plan to head in the direction where the helicopter disappeared. It didn't take long to get back into the woods this time. They heard the helicopter again. Search for life. I saw a street chatting with a few people. So far, the challenge has ended successfully.